Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Keeping Up with Conspicuous. I feel like I haven't been on this for ages because I've had 2 weeks off and Alex has taken over. But we are joined by the lovely Kim and Matt today from Cloud Contracts 365. Super excited to have you guys on because I think it's something, well, no one's touched upon it because you guys are, very specialized and it's great. So
Mm.
definitely will be an interesting one. So for those of you who don't know who you guys both are and what you guys do, it'll be good to sort of start with that really.
Yeah, thank you, Lucy, and thank you so much for inviting us today. We're so honoured to be here, and it's lovely to be in front of our audience because we absolutely, we are with the Microsoft partners. We've been with the ecosystem for a very, very long time. So, really quick background. So, I'm CEO and founder of Law 365 and Cloud Contracts 365. So, just to break those two businesses down a little bit for everyone. Law 365 has been going for about 10 years. It's a law firm dedicated to Microsoft partners. And we do commercial advice, corporate advice, and employment advice. Again, that's a traditional sort of lawyer model. And then the sort of latest venture, if you like, is the Cloud Contracts 365, which is what we're really here to talk about. And that's an AI SaaS platform for Microsoft partners, which enables them to sort of create contracts, review contracts, and manage contracts all on the platform. So that's a really quick intro as to who I am and the businesses. Over to you, Matt.
So I'm Matt. I'm the product and marketing director here at Cloud Contracts. So I'm in charge of all the feature development when it comes to building the platform, but also to reaching out to prospects and making sure that everyone knows all this, what's happening, because it's very kind of leading edge. There's not many businesses out there doing it, and there's no one doing it from Microsoft partners. So it's making sure that we're really serving this market as best we can.
That's a pretty cool fact that no one else is doing it. So there we go. First to have it. And when did you set up Cloud Contracts? How long ago was that now?
So we've been building the product for about 2 years, and
Okay.
actually got Innovate UK funding to do it, which was fantastic. A nice nod from the government that what we're doing is actually really important and impactful to the UK economy. So they're really acknowledging the Microsoft partner space. And so we've been building it for 2 years. We launched in January this year, so now 10 months old, but already have tons of customers on the platform really enjoying, the use of the platform. So it's a relatively young business, but already flourishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's all you could ask for really in the first few months of it. It's sort of kicking off, and you probably have started it in a time that's probably a little bit more difficult, if I'm honest with you, because from
Yeah.
our perspective, as I said, this year
Mm.
probably hasn't been the best in terms of project sign-offs and clients being able to boom this year.
Mm.
It just sort of
Yeah.
hasn't happened really. So the fact you
Mm.
guys, are already flourishing in what we would call maybe a more tough year is a
Yeah.
good start.
I
I
think
think oh,
sorry.
go on, Matt, you go for it.
I was going to say, I think one of the advantages we have is the cost saving we're offering our clients, and the
Yeah.
fact that where business is maybe not struggling, but it's challenging at the moment, and signing those
Yeah.
deals off, being able to save so much on legal is really important, because it's one of those things where it's not really something you want to consider. However, you need it to protect your business. And the alternatives is kind of taking that risk that maybe later down the line you get stung. And we know that so many of Microsoft partners and MSPs and tech businesses as a whole, we know like only 14% of them really use lawyers. So
Wow.
being able to give them something that gives them that protection, so that they're not putting themselves at risk, has been really powerful. And a lot of people have
Mm.
seen the value in that. Which is what we're really excited about. That's what we're really about, is democratizing legal and
Mm.
giving the business owners, the sales teams, whoever's involved in a legal process, giving them the power, rather than having to rely on expensive lawyers, long wait times, all of these things that would slow down business even more, and essentially affect the bottom line.
Mm.
That's
Oh,
yeah, that's so interesting. Sorry, Kim.
yeah. No, I was just going to add to that because a lot of people say, well, doesn't that cut the work out of your law firm and the lawyers in that law firm? And I'm saying to them, no, because actually I want my lawyers to do high level advisory work. They don't need to do this type of work, which is template work, which is, you know, first pass, second pass reviews of a contract, you know, they can be doing the negotiations for you and the rest of it. Those are the higher level pieces of work. And I think this is a perfect way of balancing what lawyers are supposed to be doing and where you can get automated legal advice without having to, you know, break the bank.
Mm.
I think it's so interesting for me because obviously, like, I wouldn't ever think about this side of a business. You know, in terms of Microsoft partners, I work with them, etc. Not within one,
Yeah.
but even for any business, I forget how much of a cost legal cost would be,
Yeah.
and all the time and effort that has to go into it. So it's like an additional thing, you know, someone is going to have to worry about. So, you know, obviously, in terms of how the business started, as you said, 10 or so years ago, you started Law 365. So
Mhm.
was it just because you were hearing about all these sort of pain points from your clients that made you want to think about starting cloud contracts?
Yeah, so actually Matt said it was democratizing legal. I've always been really frustrated at, you know, the fact that the legal industry is seen in a really negative way, because the lawyers are really expensive. They're not always specialized, so it's really hard to like tell them what your business does. And they're super slow. I mean, not obviously my lawyers, by the way, but you know, just generally in the legal industry, how people view them. You're waiting 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get your templates done, you know, because they've got a whole load of work to do. And it super frustrates me because though I am a lawyer, I have been on the other side of legal advice, you know, and wait time, that's inability to shorten that sales cycle, that important deal that's, you know, so important to you, who the lawyer doesn't care about because they've got like 10 of them to worry about. Um,
Yeah.
it frustrated me, but you're right, Lucy. I did see the pain points going on in my Microsoft partners. And, you know, and I thought this is kind of low hanging fruit work that they don't and shouldn't pay £5,000 for a master services agreement. They shouldn't do that. Build it instantly and it starts at £100 a month. You know, I mean, this is the way to democratize legal
Mm.
truly. And you know, and the Microsoft partner ecosystem is a very important ecosystem, but it's specialized. You need to know NC, you need to know CPOR, DPOR, TPOR, PAL. You need to understand all of these kinds of things in your contracts. You know, you're laughing at me now, Lucy.
It's because I have
See my
no
passion.
idea what any of those words mean, if I'm being honest with you. I think actually it will be nice maybe to talk about those keywords that you're dealing with constantly. I know there's going to be a lot of people sort of tuning in that either are high up in a Microsoft partner, own a
Yeah.
Microsoft partner, with obviously ISVs and everything like that. But for those that may not even be aware of these certain keywords and things that they need to be aware of, maybe we could just elaborate on those areas. One, I'm interested because it's all news to me, but for
I'm
everyone
glad you're
else, it would
interested
be
and
good
it's not snore factor for you, Lucy. So that's really good
No,
to hear.
I learned
Any-
so much.
oh. Good.
But
Okay. Well, let me break them down for you so that it's a really
okay,
sort of so NCE, CSP, everyone sort of in the market knows all this. This is the licensing, right? But obviously Microsoft changed the game a few years ago on you know the liability game, if you like, on that, in the sense that now people are committed for 12 months and not committed on a rolling 30-day basis. So there is a liability issue there because you're holding that licensing for your customers. So it's really managing you know, that sort of position, but it's also more than that. It's looking at consumption and how you bill for that. It's reporting. It's all intricate things related to the licensing world under NCE that you've got to be really, really careful, and you've got to draft it very, very well in order to mitigate as much as you can. You're never going to completely forego your risk, but to mitigate it as much as you can. So, you know, templates need to be really kind of key to that. I did mention the rebates, sort of CPOR, sort of claiming partner of record, digital partner of record, transacting partner of record, PAL. You know, there's these sort of acronyms that only Microsoft love to sort of brandish around, but you know, they are important to Microsoft partners because if you are working with the rebates and the incentives, you need to commit your customers to ensuring that you are going to be that claiming partner of record, etc., etc. And your contracts need to be very clear on that and the parameters of that. Again, those rebates. I mean, Matt, I think you had a stats around, you know, how many sort of millions of pounds in the ecosystem people just forego. They don't realize it's there and how to protect themselves to get that. That's huge. That's revenue for you. Improve your execution work. So if you're doing Microsoft funded work, you know, do have a contract term in your contract that says and obligates the customer to pay you within 7 days if they haven't signed off on the certificate, because signing that certificate is the only way that Microsoft will release the funds to you. So if the customer sits on their hands and you're waiting for that cash to come in, right, and they're still sitting on their hands or asking for more and more and more before they sign something, then that's a cash hole in your business. And that really means something. And that's only really for those partners who work closely with Microsoft and do that funded piece of work. So those little hacks are really important. I mean, there's so much more I could go into, Lucy, but those are sort of the high level issues. I took forever for it.
And Matt, how have you sort of found it? I know Kim mentioned there was, you know, you've looked into the stats and everything like this. So how have you found this market specifically going into it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a challenge because we're so new, we're so leading edge, and it's not something that's been kind of done before. Educating it's almost like like we have to educate people that we exist, and that this technology exists. You know, that people
Yeah.
are still relying on manual reviews for everything. We have, you know, we've been speaking to some of our enterprise clients, and they were still manually reviewing all of their NDAs because they couldn't afford for you know, just to skip over them on one to fall through the cracks that isn't, you know, isn't in alignment with what they require. You know, maybe it's not mutual, you know, whatever it might be. But it was, you know, really seeing that they could really see when we explained exactly how we worked and how, you know, our AI tool will review a contract in seconds and give them a really, you know, give them a detailed information around where those risks are in that contract, which really means that even businesses who do have in-house legal, they're able to save so much time. You know, we've got one client who sends like 15, 20 NDAs through the system every week, plus all their, you know, master service agreement, all of these things, you know, and even at our lowest package, if they were just to review the contracts, you know, like and use all their credits just for the reviewer, they'd save themselves over £120,000 in lawyer fees and up to a year, save themselves up to a year in wait times, because they'd have to send the contracts to a lawyer, wait 2 to 3 weeks for it to come back. It was phenomenal. We had one client who's used to waiting 3 months or 2 to 3 months for MSAs to be, you know, go through, negotiated, signed, etc. He did the whole thing in 15 minutes, and he wrote to us and was like, wow, I've had
And there's a
instant.
£1.5 million deal.
Yeah. So
Oh my
it's
God.
been, I
Yeah.
know, and it's been so rewarding. It's been so rewarding to see the value we're adding to our clients, for something that used to be, you know, a cost center. You know, it used to be that thing that, you know, that people don't want to talk about. I've spoken to people who are, you know, starting MSPs, and they've said, you know, I've lined everything up, all the marketing up, I've lined all the infrastructure up, and the one thing I was leaving and the one thing I didn't want to look at was legal. And then I saw what you were doing. I saw the platform, and this guy was our first ever client. He said, I saw
Wow.
that, and I knew I needed it. I knew, because previous experience showed me that, you know, I'd been stung by previous contracts that have gone wrong, but I knew I needed this in place because it was just a risk I couldn't afford. And he literally hounded us for our start date, and it was, you
Did.
know, it's been so
We lost.
rewarding seeing that feedback. You know, we've got 5-star ratings on both the Contract Builder, which is our template bank, but also and Wizards, but also on the reviewer as well. And people are really pleased with the information it's giving them, because it doesn't just tell them where the risks are, it gives them that education around, because, you know, for those who don't necessarily have legal knowledge, it's perfect because it gives you that insight into what things should be looked for.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people do start businesses, and not everyone, as you said, is going to have that legal knowledge. In generally speaking, a lot of people might find the law side a little bit boring, and they don't want to educate themselves on it because it's something that they want to avoid.
Yeah.
It's something that's massively important, but people push it aside because they don't want to think about that and think about what if they have to get to that stage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but one thing that I'm quite interested in is, as you said, Microsoft partners you work with, and you mentioned that you were speaking to that client who is brand new within
Mm-hmm.
with like
Mm.
starting a business. Have you found there's been a bit of a difference with implementing this into like a new Microsoft partner as opposed to someone who's already existed and maybe doing those manual processes?
Do you want me to take that one?
Yeah, you take that one.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so there is a difference. So, but the tool is very easy to use, plug and play. It's very
Okay.
intuitive. So adoption has more been, into their current processes. And what we find is, startups and small businesses, they're really interested in the templates because we've got over £40,000 worth of templates in there, right? So
Wow.
normally, yeah, so normally businesses of that size, they can't necessarily afford to pay for templates from a lawyer. So they either take them from another business that they used to work for, or
Mm.
they might,
That happens a lot.
please don't ever do this, get ChatGPT to write one for
That
them.
has happened as
That's
well.
happened as
Yes,
well.
I've
Um,
seen them.
No.
and but without
Yes.
and like you said, like a lot of these guys, they're used to being, project managers and techies, and they don't necessarily know legal. Like
Yeah.
when I first joined this business, that is, I'm from the technology side. I didn't necessarily know about all the legal implications, but they're essentially, by doing that, they're baking risk into their business, which is
Yeah.
super risky from day one. And I mean, Kim will tell you that even after a contract has expired, you're liable for, is it 6 years, Kim?
Yeah, 6 years after you've finished working with a client, they've got
Yeah.
6 years to claim damages against you. But I'll just like elaborate a little bit on that point, Matt, because I think it's really important that it's not just about, because a lot of my clients have said, yeah, but it's fine. I've never had an issue in 20 years of dealing with anyone. Contracts are just this thing that I have to do. Like I feel like I have to do it. Like, why do you feel like you have to do it if you've never had an issue, right? Might as well just rip it up and don't worry about it, because the contract's not been very well written anyway. So why bother? And
Yeah.
I say to them, look, it's not just even the feeling of what, nothing's going to ever go wrong in my business. By the way, no one could possibly know that for sure. But it's also the valuation in your
Mm.
business, right? Because when you do go and exit your business, at some point, everyone will do that unless they're going to pass it down from family to family. Then the buyer will look at every part of your processes, including your contracts, and go, you have included so much risk in your contracts that I'm going to devalue you by X amount, maybe up to a million plus, because I have to now inherit these bad contracts. And I have to take that risk, because even though you stopped working with that customer 2 years ago, they've got 4 years left that I'm going to have to run that risk. And I don't know what that customer is. I don't have the relationship with that customer that you do. And everything's been in the back of a cigarette packet and what have you. It's not going to be like that for a buyer. They're not going to
Yeah.
accept that. So don't even do it for just today. Build your business for tomorrow, and have your contract processes built for tomorrow, because that's the thing, that's your retirement plan, right? So get it right.
Mm.
And that's what
Yeah.
I tell my clients all the time.
I think that's so important because, as you said, people will push it aside until something wrong happens. And then
Yeah.
by then, it's a little bit too late. Money's being poured out, and
Yeah.
it's just a risky game to play. And especially in this economy that we know is so
Mm.
up and down
Oh,
and
so
everything's becoming more
precarious.
expensive. We just don't know whether
Yeah.
we're coming or going. You don't want that's a risk in itself. That God
Mm.
knows where this world is going to end up. But with
Yeah.
the added
Who
risk
knows?
of I'll just play a bit of Russian roulette,
Yeah.
contracts are going well at
Yeah,
the moment, never had an issue.
exactly.
Well,
It's
until you get that one shot
Well,
that
and
is,
and I'll just share a story, and this is a real life story. It's luckily wasn't one of my clients, but it was a story that was very close to one of my clients. Let's put it this way. But it was a Microsoft partner business. They actually grew really quickly. They think they grew to 10 million in 2 years, right, from startup. but they had 3 main clients. So their revenue was all made of these 3 big clients, right? So they built a whole big business around these 3 big clients. And the owner of the business was refusing to get legal work done. He thought he could do everything himself. He got the contracts. I think he cobbled it together from a previous employer, sort of did a bit of work, read through and thought he understood everything that there was in there. There was a clause in there that essentially didn't really, on the face of it, look like a termination for convenience, which means that you can just terminate for any reason, right? But it was. And this is a third of his revenue, and it's a managed service, right? And he was banking 3 years of revenue in this contract, but he had a 30-day right in his contract for the customer to leave. And that customer left, gave him notice halfway through that contract, and 30 days later was non-existent. Third of his revenue gone. And there was a slippery slope after that. And unfortunately, the business didn't survive ultimately for other reasons as well. But this is what I'm saying. People just want to bury their heads. They don't realize the impact of this. They think they know their customers. They know it's going to be fine. It's all right. We'll do it all on a handshake. Sometimes it's not. People come into businesses. They look at contracts. They go, I don't want to use that managed service provider. I want somebody else. And they'll look at ways of exiting. So you've got to protect your business because you've got staff, you've got people to think about.
Yeah.
And it's not just exit as well, it's for funding, for all kinds of anything where they're going to come in and do that due diligence, you know.
Yeah, that's very true. And I assume, like with your product, it doesn't matter on the size of the business. Is that right? I
No, we've got
assume it
a
can
whole
split into any.
range. It's lots to all. We've got startups on it, and we've got £100 million businesses on it using it. They love the contract reviewer because, as Matt said, this is just easy reviewing of all that sort of low-hanging fruit work that they've got. And it's the churn for them. So it's all size businesses.
I mean, that's perfect, isn't it? Because some people create a product and it just doesn't really work. It's a little bit too niche. So it's nice that you can slot into it. And as you said earlier, it doesn't matter if you've got processes in place or you've got no processes in place, it can still be implemented. So
exactly, yeah. And even if you already have templates, so we built it so that even if you already have templates, you've gone on and spent probably an eye-watering amount on a master services agreement, you can even upload that, and we have like APIs to Companies House, so it saves you time copying and pasting. If anyone out there's dealt with contracts before, they know the pain of copying and pasting from Companies House, having to reformat, it does all that for you. So we've really just thought about how can we speed this up and make contracts as frictionless as possible. There's e-signatures in the platform, renewal reminders, all of these kind of bells and whistles that are included in all of our plans, but it just makes the whole process so much easier for generating revenue and keeping that going.
absolutely. What do you think has sort of been for you guys as a business so far? What have you sort of found the main challenge for you guys, or has it been smooth sailing so far?
I think from my perspective, the challenge, I touched on it earlier, the challenge has been actually letting people know that we exist. So not only are we kind of breaking new ground as a product, so we're having to kind of let people know we exist, but also let people know that this functionality exists. There's very, very few people from a marketing perspective, very, very few people Googling automated contract reviews, or how they can get this going. So that's been a big challenge. We've done several events so far. We were at DTX last week, which was amazing. Just really just rubbing shoulders with various MSPs and Microsoft partners, and just talking to them about their needs and what's going on in their business, and watching the penny drop. I think that's the challenge, but also the reward is watching the penny drop and going, oh wow, like I can do this and I don't have to sit through a 50-page document anymore. It's like, yeah, of course, and that's been the biggest challenge is that, and then where we go next is for a product director, it's always I've got a set amount of dev time, and then Kim as a visionary has
a lot of ideas,
so
too
many
many.
so many ideas of how we can
I'm
make
like,
this
we can do
better and
this,
better
we
and
can do
better.
this, we can do this.
Exactly. So
Like,
it's aligning
that'll be
that.
easy.
the prioritization, because we're bringing redlining into the app, we're bringing all kinds of different features in. We're looking to go to the US next year, so that's really
Oh,
exciting. But
wow.
as a product director, the challenge is, okay, how do we get this all in the right way, and making sure, but again, doing it in a way that's super secure,
Yes.
that because it's contracts, even around a lot about integrations, making sure that the right things have access to the right things, and we're not exposing anyone's information or documents. It's really, really important, and that's highest on my priority list, is making sure that's as secure as possible. But yeah.
Well, yeah, I was about to say that one of the things that I thought about is it's all such sensitive information, isn't it, that you're dealing with. So for you guys as a business, it's being able to trust your employees, that the people you're employing have such a good knowledge around that area, and obviously, all of that side of things. But as I know you mentioned that you were at an event last week, but I know Kim, just before we came on, was saying that you guys have a few others for the year. So is there anywhere people can catch you at before Christmas?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are doing Legal Geek next week, which is probably not where you guys will hang out, but certainly we're doing Comptier, which is the week after. And Comptier
Yeah.
is quite a big membership, not-for-profit membership organization for Microsoft partners. So it's going there. I'm going to be in the Genius Cafe, my first time. And it sounds a lot grander than I think it is. I'm definitely not a genius, but I will be sitting in a cafe talking about my subject matter. So if anyone has, and not selling, by the way, this is a very much like legal advisory service. So if people want to drop in, Matt, where is it? I can't remember now. It's somewhere in
It's
London.
in Westminster.
Westminster.
You can find all of the details on the website. I'm sure we can,
We
if
can
you
put
want
the
to get in
link
Circulate some of
contact,
in.
we
those
can circulate
details.
it as
But
well.
if
If you
you,
jump on to either the cloud contracts at LinkedIn, all the information is on there. But it's very much Kim giving kind of free legal advice. I
It's
believe
cool.
that's on the first day, sitting in the Genius Cafe on the 21st and 22nd. So yeah, but there's lots of really exciting attendees there as well. And if anyone is going to Legal Geek and we'll be in the Startup Alley, which is in Shoreditch, that one. So we'll be standing there, talking about what we do and sharing the magic.
Yeah, getting the word out there. As you said,
Yeah.
you're branching into new territories that no one's done before, which is so exciting. Maybe a little bit scary, but I think more exciting than anything. And it's just finding that way to spread the word of you
yeah.
guys, really, and that this type of
Yeah.
thing now exists. It didn't, but now it does.
Yeah,
And
and the joy that we have in
yeah.
seeing businesses actually professionalize for a fraction of the price. I mean, for us, the clients that are on the platform, they are absolutely they're flying, they're shortening the sales cycle, they are professionalizing, they're getting everything in the right way. And that is so rewarding for us because that's all we want. We want people to be able to professionalize, get really good at understanding their risk management and actually shortening their sales cycles, so growing so much quicker because of it. That's what gives us joy.
Yeah.
And I think Kim
And
tagged it the other day as saving the world one contract at a time.
Yeah,
I love that.
we have a superhero
Absolutely love
theme
that.
on the website,
Yeah,
so that's a really
Incredible. You can never go wrong with
takeaway.
superheroes, ever.
exactly.
So
True.
that's good. And obviously, I assume, as you said, it's allowing businesses to scale as well, which is going to be massive. And hopefully, and sort of uh, going on to the actual contractors, I
Mhm,
know a lot of contractors will also probably be looking at this as well. But
mhm,
one, opening new doors and being able to allow businesses to scale is going to help them because this
mhm.
contracting market this year,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say too many words on it, but it hasn't been fantastic.
Mm,
So that's obviously a bonus for them. But what,
mhm.
is there any other positive implications on contractors themselves with what you're doing?
Yeah, in the sense of them actually using the tool, or
Just with them having this in place, is it simplified for them, the processes? Are they
oh
more
yes,
secure?
oh 100%. No,
Mm.
absolutely. It applies in the same way as for an individual as it would for a business, in exactly the same way. It's very intuitive, very easy to understand. and super useful for them to get their contracts, ready, and to
Yeah.
protect themselves as well. So 100%, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
And I
I
think
did
it's
work that
as
really
well.
Not at all, not
I
at
think
all.
it's the fact that, if whoever they're even the businesses they're working with, if they have the right things in place, it means that their contract is secure for longer, because it means that they're not going to terminate
Yeah.
early. They're not, without penalty, etc. So they're more likely to be in those roles for the period of time. And I know, as being contractor previously, that's always, when, you're never always quite sure when the role, how long the role is there for. But there is that, and obviously helping the business sign more deals means there's going to be more work, and if they're signing them
Yeah,
quicker,
And this is what we need, more work within the
yeah,
contracting world at the
exactly,
moment.
yeah,
So
definitely.
this will be beneficial.
Yeah.
And one other thing that was sort of crossed my mind is, obviously you've got the events coming up and people can come and speak to you guys. But for those that may not see you in person, is it like, do you have like a demo that you guys provide of what you do, or how does that work?
Mhm.
Yeah, so we have a website. So we're at www.cloudcontracts365.com. All the information's on there, and you can book a demo with myself or Kim. We'll run you through the platform and show you exactly. There is an interactive demo on there as well. But if you want a more personal touch, we can explain how it benefit you or benefit your business, and give you a live demo of that, absolutely free of charge. It's just book it in, and we're more than happy to help and explain how you can adopt this in the business as well. So we
Just
have a
add as
full.
well that sorry to cut you up there, Matt, that there's a free trial. So if you go on the
Yes.
website, you
Oh,
go to the
okay.
pricing page, you can go free trial. There's no credit card required. It's a 30-day free trial. So if people
Hmm.
just want to play with it, see how they get on.
Mm.
Obviously, we have ring fenced only the NDA and letter of agreement to build, because we don't want to give everything away on the free
Of
trial.
course.
But you can play with that. You can get it signed, and you can see how that's working, and then you can run some contracts through the review. I think you've got up to 5 contracts you can run
Yeah.
through
Oh,
and
wow.
see how it comes back with the legal risk. Tells you where they are in the document, how to push back. So it'd be good for people to get a flavor of it. Does it kind of
Mm.
work for them? Does it do enough for what they need? So yeah, there's a free trial that people can go on.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I think, it's super interesting. It's something that people probably haven't thought about. I know we've had a couple of people comment just saying that thank you. Thank you to you guys for coming on. They've got to leave
Thank
now,
you.
but it's good to have a different opinion on things in the contract world. So I know there's another contractor, David, but he's also saying thank you. So I think it's going to be super useful for, Microsoft partners, contractors themselves. Just,
Hmm.
it's quite eye-opening. And as I said, for me, I wouldn't think about any of this stuff, and I now realize how important it probably is
Mm,
to have stuff like this in
yeah,
place.
yeah.
So if any of my clients are watching and you haven't got this in place, I now advise it. So
Or else.
yeah, yeah. Um, but obviously, I don't know whether you guys have got any sort of finalized points. Of course, if we get any other, oh, actually, before we finalize, we actually have had
Yep,
a question come in,
yep.
saying what sort of standard contract template what sorry, that's
Do we
what
have
should
on there?
basically what should a standard contract template look like? I don't know whether that's
Mm.
something you can answer or
So it
not.
depends what services you're doing, obviously. But if you're doing managed services and professional services, you might sell some kit, do some break fix or what have you. Then I would recommend using a master services agreement, which we have on the platform. If you're just doing managed services, there's a managed services agreement. If you're just doing professional services, there's a standalone professional services agreement. There's a SaaS agreement if you've got any sort of SaaS products. There's also an NDA. There's a letter of agreement, which is sort of like a consultancy scoping workshop kind of agreement. Don't think there's, I can't remember what else is there, but that's the main
Lots.
sort of commercial lots. That those are the main commercial contracts you kind of need to get going. We also have Microsoft Marketplace terms. So if you're looking to go onto Microsoft Marketplace instead of using the Microsoft Standard agreement, we actually have built all those versions for Microsoft Marketplace. So you can just download, you can create your contract there and then obviously download it on the marketplace so that you've got proper agreements even on the marketplace too.
Mm.
Perfect. Well, hopefully that helps with that comment. But obviously, if we do get any others in, we can reply back to them after the live. So please, obviously, if you have any questions, drop a comment. If not, connect with Kim and Matt. I'm sure they'll be happy to answer as well. But yeah, I don't know whether there's any sort of final thoughts or anything you would like to say before we wrap up.
Just to say that we've got some further exciting plans that we can't unveil right now, but there's even more coming into the platform pretty soon. That is going to be absolutely amazing. So obviously early adopters will get the benefit of that without having to pay the increase. So that's always really good. But also, you know, if you ever just want to chat, you know, just find out what you're doing legally, you know, where you're at on your legal journey and just need a bit of advice, I'm very happy to offer that. It's a half an hour free call to have a chat with you guys. So please feel free to reach out.
Yes, and thank you, Lucy, for having us on as
Thank
well.
you.
It's been a pleasure. It's always amazing to chat. So yeah, appreciate it.
No worries. Now, I've just been reminded before we log off, I forgot we do this. I've had 2 weeks out and don't know how to podcast anymore. But so we always finish on a little question for you guys. And the question is, if you guys were not part of the IT industry and doing the job that you're currently doing, what would your dream job be?
Do you want me to go first?
You go first. I've got to think about that.
I have a bit of a side hustle in health and wellness. So
Okay.
I'd be running a mental health business to support both anyone with their mental health in events. I run kind of like wellness events for corporates and all kinds of things like that. So that's what I'd be doing more of, which really lights me up helping people.
Amazing. And Kim, what would you do?
It's really hard because I genuinely love what I do, and I'm super passionate about it. I've been doing it for 15 years. I just love it. I'd say probably an artist, and you probably can see some of my art in the
Ooh,
background. But
I was going to
sorry,
say that looked
that's
a
not
bit
my
funky.
art.
Oh,
I meant I collect art, but I also do my own art. And I love it, and it sort of gives me a lot of joy. So I don't find very much time these days to paint anymore. But yeah, probably an artist. There you go.
there we go. That's a good answer. We haven't had an artist, and we haven't had mental well-being person either.
There you
So
go.
2 new ones. I've been saying how growing up it was always I wanted to be a vet. Never would be able to do it. I'd cry probably every day if I had to put an animal down, so it really would not be suitable. So yeah, that dream busted quite quickly. But hey, now we're doing
Never
recruitment,
know.
but
Yes.
you just never know.
Never know.
But thank you so much, guys,
Thank you.
for coming on. As I said, it's been quite refreshing because it's something that we've never even come across. And yeah, I think things are only going to get bigger and better for you guys, I'm sure, because it's so
Thank you.
important. So definitely reach out to Kim and Matt, connect with them, see what they're up to, especially if they've got some new advancements coming. Definitely want to see what they are. And any questions they'll be happy to answer. But thank you again, guys. And
Thank you
yeah,
so
well,
much.
we'll stay in contact and we'll
Yes.
definitely speak soon. So thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so
Amazing.
much, Lucy.
Thank you, and thank you
No
everyone for
worries.
tuning in as well. It's been
Yes, thank you.
cheers.
No worries. Bye.